Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Faithful to the Traitors. I'm Ben, I'm up my turret and I'm still faithful.
Filth. Hello, I'm Alex. I'm a faithful. I have nothing witty to say other than that I wish Char Char was on this episode. I miss Char Char this episode.
Who's Char Char?
The dog.
Oh yeah, the little chihuahua.
You've forgotten her already.
Well, there's so many new casts this series with Paul Henry.
Paul Henry on his little stepladder.
Yes.
Paul Henry stepladder. Can I say, and I know I'm banging the drum that I always bang, but my God, New Zealand do a good series of the Traitors, don't they? Like this episode, the cliffhanger was at the right time. The cast are right. They're the right group of people. There's the fun element, but there's also the serious element. They just get the mixture just about right. Something about, I don't know why, but New Zealand just do it very well.
There's something about New Zealand. Something in the water.
Maybe it's the gin.
Paul Henry's camp gin.
Paul's been giving to everyone. It could be the gin that they're all drinking. Thank you for getting in touch and also following us on social media, by the way. If you want to get in touch with us with anything that you've listened to or watched from the podcast, or also indeed the New Zealand series of the Traitors, do so on email, faithfultothetraitors@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter or X @Traitors Podcast, on Instagram and Threads @FaithfulToTheTraitors. If you want to encourage the show, if you want to be encourageable toward us, then please go to buymeacoffee.com/faithful. But you can also help us by subscribing, ringing the bell if you're watching us on YouTube, and writing a nice review about us if you're listening to us on Spotify or any of your favorite podcast apps, because that helps us spread like a good dairy butter.
Or just tell your friends about us.
Tell your friends. You could say to your friends, oh my God, have you been watching Traitors? Yeah, I have been watching Traitors. Oh my God, do you know there's a podcast about the Traitors? No.
You know that camp, Paul Henry? Well, there's two podcast hosts that make him look as straight as a die.
Exactly. We help Paul Henry.
Shana.
What was that?
Shana.
You did that one quietly.
Well, you know, that's the magic of Paul Henry.
He is a magic. He is just like a magician, isn't he? He just comes out with some
the campest magician.
Well, good quotes. I mean, there were some good quotes.
Every time we mention Camp Paul Henry, we have to say Camp Paul Henry, just because we know he's an ally. You see, so
is he?
So I have to just say how camp he is.
Oh, I thought you meant camp. The pause there would indicate there's a comma, so it's Camp Paul Henry. So almost like you know what I mean? So because you could mistake it as in there's a camp. Like a summer camp where people go to become Paul Henry.
That's not the type of camp I mean.
No.
When I say camp Paul Henry, I'm talking about how camp.
There was a weird
Paul
natural
Henry
pause
is.
after you say camp for some
Thank
reason.
you. It's good to build up for Paul Henry.
Paul Henry. I mean, he is a star. He is a star. King of the world. By the way, Paul, we know you listen. You know you watch. Where's our gin, Paul? Where's our gin?
We have heard from some of the contestants, but Mike, the traitor, enjoyed the podcast officially.
Oh, thank you, Mike. Hello, Mike.
So from now on, Mike, you know what the rules are. If you get in contact with us and you're nice to us, we then say that you're nice on the show. So Mike's now my favourite to win.
Well, yeah.
It's funny that. Don't know why it happens, but it does.
Yeah, there seems to be bias there somewhere. I mean, we still kind of take the mick.
Well, yes, of course.
But Mike's been kind of like a background character, apart from one little, a couple of mistakes actually.
I noticed the Traitors were kind of not really in this episode much. We didn't see many cloaks or anything. It was just.
But there wasn't much about like the Traitors working as a team, and as I say, that kind of then was indicated later on because Mike kind of backstabbed one of the Traitors, which we will talk about, which could. Well, okay.
Well, people listening to this.
It's a bit of a cliffhanger, isn't it? You know, people might just listen to us instead of watching the Traitors to get their information.
I doubt that very much.
Well, they might.
Well, you listen to the show but don't watch the Traitors.
Well, they might not be able to get their New Zealand pickup. The feed.
Okay, well, Mike voted for Jackie.
Well, okay, fine, but we'll get to that later because that's a whole kettle of fish we need to discuss as well. But first of all, someone got murdered. The stepladder needed to come out because there's no way in that house that Paul was going to find a way of reaching Go Gadget arms. Although he looks a bit like Claw. Oh my God! You remember the bad guy from Inspector Gadget?
No.
I'll get your gadget, and he has the cat Claw.
No.
I'm sure it looks like him. I know you don't really see his face, but I'm sure in one of the episodes you see his face, and I'm sure it's Paul Henry. Paul Henry would play a great villain in a cartoon series. Wouldn't you not say?
There's his face there.
Well, there you go. So Paul Henry. And instead of the cat,
he
he's
wears
got
similar
the dog.
clothes as well.
Cha-Cha. He does. He might have a chair as well, he must sit in like a dark room somewhere where he watches all the games, all the manipulation on monitors.
Well, last week, Paul Henry questioned Mark's use of a cane. He said,
Mark, yeah.
Well, this week, Paul Henry walks in with a cane, drops it to the floor and climbs a stepladder.
But unsteadily, though, let's be honest.
Which one really needs the cane?
I did feel like they did the dirty on old Paul there, because like they kept the whole thing in of him wobbling on the thing, gently trying to grab the thing.
It did look dangerous.
He obviously has a fear of heights, because he was only like, a couple of feet off the floor, and
tiny.
He was still wobbling.
They're very
not
narrow,
very
thin steps, and he had his big TV host shoes on. So
he wasn't wearing his pajamas, so that was a nice. He was wearing a cloak, though. Did you notice he was wearing a cloak?
No.
But this is what I'm saying. He was probably watching them all on a certain device.
Oh, you want me to?
Yes, I do.
We have to get it up.
My favourite quote so far.
He was watching them on a
video cassette tape.
Yes. Paul was watching them all on a video cassette tape.
Cassette. Do you remember how to use them?
Of course I do. I think they should bring them back. There's a renaissance of video cassettes, by the way.
My mum used to be obsessed with them. She used to record.
I recorded everything.
Neighbours on them.
Well,
all the time.
I used to record lots and lots and lots of things. I had and you'd always didn't want to tape over another thing, so you'd have just a collection of video cassettes, cassette tapes.
Video cassette tape.
Anyway, let's get on to the business of the
game. The
way
he says that, it sounds like he's never heard of it before. Cassette tape. Right, anyway, so yes. So what happened? We had a murder.
Widdamoo. Finally. Widdamoo is gone.
Yes.
He is gone. Brittany was your prediction, wasn't she?
Yes, she was. But
I mean, Mark, we all knew Mark wasn't going to go.
No, that'd be stupid.
And to be fair, we should have known as the conversations around the breakfast table was happening that Brittany wasn't going to go either, because Whitney was properly pushing suspicion onto Brittany throughout the whole breakfast table. Like she made no secret. Even when the door was opening, she would just trail off quietly. And it must be Brittany. Oh. And then when they walked in, she saw it wasn't Brittany. She then carried on the steam train of suspicion.
It's Battle of the Pop Stars.
It is.
Which one are you, Team Whitney or Brittany? One has vocals. Mm-hmm. One has pop hits.
Brittany.
One has outfits.
I have to
say
Brittany.
One has true talent.
Yeah, but Whitney squandered her talent, while Brittany.
Brittany's innocent.
Yes, exactly. Free the Brittany one.
Whitney's a traitor. So
I like the battle between them, I have to say. I like that Brittany is fighting for her life because it feels like that everyone is going for Brittany, and it's like even like people are warning her now. Like there was the he said and she said that he said kind of situation as well. Like Bree said that Britt said that Molly was after her, and it's like oh my goodness.
No one needs to know whatever Brianna says, because she doesn't know what she's talking about all the time. Well, did I dream it or did it happen? I'm not sure.
Brianna cracked me up because at the breakfast table, I didn't see who, but a couple of people kind of said to her, like, you know now that from what you said at the round table that you're up for suspicion. And they did a to camera part with her when obviously the producers were talking to her, and she said, well, she kind of forgot the fact that she, as you said that she said someone's name because she perhaps dreamt it. And just convinced herself that she was worried that people think that she's a strong player. But even at the round table on today's episode, she just kind of just threw out names, just like, yeah, I just think it's that person. but I never said that. And then they said this again. They said, but Brie, I never said that. Yeah, you did. Wait for the cameras to come out. Wait till you hear it on a video cassette player.
I like Brianna.
Only because she's a bit ditzy, and she's like,
yeah, she's funny.
She's a kind of like a very, she's one of those, she's almost like the female Mark. Mark and Brianna probably should start to team up and use their kind of like wandering thoughts.
I really like
better.
Jackie as well. There's something, because some of them are like, who was it? Was it Andrew? It was like, I just can't vote for her, even though I probably think she's I just can't.
Yeah, but Jackie's,
and that's a bit how I feel.
Well, I think Jackie's kind of lucky because she's got two people now trying to be an ally with her, because they know she's a traitor.
But they like
Mark.
her.
But Mark and Andrew both said, I know you're a traitor. But I'm sticking with you because I know that the best way to play this game is to stay on your side. Now, I have to say, I think it was a weird move for Andrew and Mark to admit that to her.
Mark didn't actually... Andrew definitely did. But Mark didn't actually. He said, we're both faithful. But then at the confession, he said, if she's a traitor, then my plan kind of still works. But Andrew literally went outright and just said... if I'm not going to look you in the eyes because you can't, you against the rules.
I'll just cry because of your beauty.
You're not allowed to tell me if you're a traitor against the rules of the game. She's like, I'm faithful, and he was like, if you're, it's a rule. You're not. If someone asks you outright, you're not allowed to say, I am. You're not allowed to.
Oh, really? Because I always think that's an interesting tactic if someone actually played that. If they said, yeah, I am.
It's a bit. I do wonder if the rule should be that you're not allowed to swear on someone's life. I think we've talked about this before, but I think Brittany said that this week. She's like, I swear on my kid's life.
Brittany did in tears because she was thinking about family as well. And then when first of all, the game, when they all accused her of being most arrogant, but then also because there's so much accusation toward her, she started feeling very emotional this episode, which again didn't help her. People don't like when people show emotion.
But I don't like that you can swear on my kid's life.
It feels a bit...
Yeah, because I think there was a traitor in one of the series
Sharon
who
Watts.
did it.
Sharon Watts did it.
Yeah, look what happened there.
And look what happened. Denny died in a boat crash.
Spoilers.
And do you know whose fault that is? Phil Mitchell's.
Phil Mitchell, yeah.
Not Ian Beale's.
So maybe that should be a rule. You're not allowed to admit you're a traitor.
Carbonara
also,
tonight.
Don't
Bother
swear.
Garlic bread. Sorry.
Don't swear on someone's life. I just don't like it. Because it's a bit of a, in a way, if you're faithful, it's a really easy get out. Because people are like, oh, you'd never do that, so you must be faithful. And it kind of worked because not that many people voted for Brittany.
No, people still voted for Brittany. Brittany was
not that many. As what we're gonna.
No, that's true.
It randomly went to Molly, didn't it? But and then if you're a traitor, it's just really icky to.
Oh, it'd be horrible.
So I just feel like that should be a new rule that you're not allowed to swear on someone's life.
Can you imagine if a traitor, because obviously you don't know these people when you're in the house, and they use someone who has actually passed away as their life to swear on. So you imagine that would, you're absolutely right. It's absolutely icky, but I suppose it's a gameplay thing. I think it'd be difficult to implement that into a rule.
Yeah, I guess so. But also, wasn't there once like someone was like pretended to be a nurse or something, and they were like, "Was that the Traitors?" I'm not sure if that was Traitors.
Did you dream it, Brie?
I might have dreamt it. It might have been the Circle, but someone pretended to be a nurse. So they feel sorry for them or something. That may be. I think
it was the Circle. I'm trying to think. It was the series which had Hunter from the Gladiators on it.
Yeah,
I think it was that series.
Yeah, it was a guy who pretended to be a female nurse.
Yeah. So that because it just had COVID, and so it made people pity them. Yeah, Circle. That was a good reality show. Channel 4.
The UK one.
Oh, the American one's rubbish. Don't watch the Netflix one. If you can dig it out, find the UK version. God, we're talking about another show again. But no. Quickly to bring up about you saying about it being a rule you're not allowed to say. I would take that rule away. I'd like to see that as play out. I would love to genuinely see someone.
The reason is because you take the oath. You take the oath to protect traitors and to not admit you're a traitor.
Do you think that'd be a really interesting twist?
Well, we nearly had it with Jackie and Andrew. That's why it was weird. Like we've never seen that before, where someone's a faithful's basically said, "I know you're a traitor, but look after me." It's like, so that's kind of a new twist on keeping a traitor close. He literally admitted it to her, and she was like, "Mm-hmm."
This is it. Do you trust
there
Jackie?
Knitting,
yeah, making a little tea cozy. But do you trust Jackie? Because Mark had that private chat with Jackie, wanted to mend the bridge, but then said, "Oh, why didn't we pretend we have this public feud in front of people, but actually we're mutually benefit,
gather information
from each other."
separately.
Yeah, and then literally the next minute, Jackie went up to 4 people and said, "Yeah, so Mark wants me to start an alliance." So can Andrew trust Jackie? Because Jackie hasn't. I think Jackie does like. Jackie doesn't like Mark. Let's be honest. That's clear to see. But I think Jackie does like Andrew. So I do think Jackie will throw Andrew under the bus, saying like, "Oh, he thinks I'm a traitor." Again, but does that make Jackie look bad, or does it make Andrew look bad? It's a tricky
Jackie's
line
in a
to
good
toe.
position because she seems to have like the young ones like kind of looking up to her and like.
There's always the mother character, isn't there?
And she's
like
got
Diane,
that.
you know.
Yes.
But she has got that. But, it's not a spoiler. She's a mother character.
Yeah.
Stop saying everything's a spoiler. EastEnders was a spoiler.
I feel the same. I like Jackie, so I'm a bit worried.
I don't like Jackie.
Okay.
So I'm not saying
Clairvoyant.
it because. Well, this is another thing. She just thought she'd throw that into the mix today. She's like, "Oh, by the way, I'm a clairvoyant."
And I don't know
what's happening.
I don't know why she was like, "It's time I have to tell you all." It's like, well, that didn't really it didn't really make a difference to the game or people's choices. It's like, what do you mean? She was like, "I'm a clairvoyant, but I'm not using my power." It's like, sorry.
Oh no, that's another thing. It's like it's like again, just the thing against clairvoyance or anything like that. But it's the fact that she feels like she can cap her power as well. Because clairvoyance, isn't they just say it's like, "Oh, there's no control of it. I just always hear voices. I know people are always talking to me. They're telling me the future. They're telling me stuff." And as Jackie's like that, "No, just cap it. I just."
Shana.
Yes, that's it. That's what they hear in their ear in the
I
background.
do. She wakes up.
Shana.
I must win today. Jackie's
Jane's a traitor.
Jackie doesn't. I don't think she. Well, see, she says she's a clairvoyant, but she says she writes horoscopes as well. Is that the same thing?
No, it's not. How insulting.
Well, she said that. I'm not
She does
insulting
both.
her.
It's 2 jobs.
So what? She has 2 powers. She can tell the future.
Being
and
horoscope's not a power, is it? You just read the stars and say what the general mood you are if you're born in
You're
that
categorised
time.
as 12 different things. 12 different
It's more than
signs.
12.
No,
You
it's
have
12
the months,
star
the
signs.
moons,
Oh, come on.
the seasons.
We're starting this, are we?
Well, I'm going to start my own business.
Why don't you start a horoscope
I'm going to become a
podcast?
clairvoyant and a horoscope with Jackie.
Jackie would love that.
Jacked up with Jackie every week.
Jacking it up with Jackie. That sounds...
I'm going to ask Jackie to send us a horoscope.
Jackie, if you're listening / watching, or anyone who knows Jackie...
Well, you just said you don't like her, so
yeah,
send
but
me
I wouldn't
one.
mind a horoscope. I wouldn't mind a personalised horoscope, despite me just saying like, "Well, I don't believe in any of that tosh." I wouldn't mind a person. I would like that. We should do. Didn't we look at our compatibility once, and we found out that we weren't compatible?
I don't think so.
I feel that we've got days to live. But yes, what else? Well, I think that's the main things though. Before they went to the game, that was that Brianna was talking tosh again, and that Whitney was
putting
literally
Britney's
throwing
name
Brittany
out
under the
there.
bus. Yeah.
We haven't even done the murder.
Oh,
What's your name and where do you come from?
Widdamoo.
Right, so Widdamoo. Quote, competitive and calculated, Widdamoo plans on pushing the limits of the game as far as they go. Take it easy, Widdamoo. You're already stuck in a castle near Timaru. How much further do you need to go? These are written by the spinoff.co.nz, not by me.
Yes.
We all remember that.
We-
So that's
we
all
need-
the fact file. The fact file is a bit bare this year. Just a sentence here and there, sarcastic sentence.
And to be fair, they're early on. Normally, when they've come further in the game, there's more to say about them. So maybe the writer doesn't have a lot to say.
He's a council manager. That's his profession.
Literally means nothing to me.
No. I tried to look. It's the trouble is because none of these are actually people just in New Zealand. They're not like celebrities.
Hang
I can't
on.
find up.
Some of them are social influencers, Ben.
Yeah, Brittany.
Yes.
I haven't got to her yet, but so I was going to try and find something about Widdamoo, but I couldn't find anything. And his Instagram's private, so
Oh, Widdamoo, come on, let us in.
he might have been following us. I just looked on my own private one just then. But
Oh, sorry,
there's a weird
Widdamoo.
article
I
here, which is
apologise.
just a picture of him on a bike,
Okay.
but it's behind a paywall, so I can't read.
Everything's behind a paywall nowadays.
He loves getting to work on his bike instead of sitting in a car. There you go. That's all I can read. He used to spend up to 40 minutes sitting in a car every morning as part of the infamous traffic filing up from the city to different routes. Okay, so what we know about Widdamoo from this article.
Fascinating. Just fascinating.
Absolutely fascinating. He has switched from driving to work to biking to work. So
Oh, right, okay.
it's an infrastructure shortfall, which is why he's doing it.
Perfect. So
But
should
it's
we
a
move
lovely
on?
picture of him on a bike.
That's great. Shall we talk about the funeral?
Yes.
Because we don't really need to know
Well, that's
how
the
it's
fact
transport. Well, he rides a bike to work.
Well, you know that he's a
That's
keen bike.
scraping the barrel.
He's keen on bike killing.
Killing?
Bicycling.
Oh, bicycling.
Bicycling.
Cycling, you mean? Bicycling. So the game, the mission, the mission was that Widdamoo is having a funeral.
He's
invited, he's dead. He's invited 12 people. Before he died, he made a will
Video cassette tape.
on a video cassette tape. And he basically said that 9 of the 12 people invited to the funeral will get nothing from his
Yeah, they've
from
been
his
taken
will.
out of the will.
No inheritance for them. They have to guess who the 3 are. And they've all been categorized, quietest and so on. So just quickly, should we go through each one and say whether you agree? So Bailey...
Agree or disagree?
Agree, disagree. Yeah, that's as quick as that. Let's not
We're
dwell too
14-year-old
much.
girls on Snapchat.
Here we go. That's the future.
Agree,
Come on.
disagree.
Right, so Bailey, they said, was quietest. I agree.
Because I
Yep.
can't remember what Bailey said this episode.
Absolutely,
So
100%
I agree.
Mark, they said, was the least favourite. I think he's right, but I think he's
Could have been Jackie.
But also, I don't think that he means that with any kind of malice. I just think that people suspect Mark.
Similar to how you said you don't like Jackie. Not with malice. It's just
No.
what it is.
Just people suspect her. Well, rightly so. Brie was the sweetest. I mean, I'd say Brie was the shadiest, if you ask me.
No, shadiest is Joe.
No, shadiest was Mike.
No, I'm saying
Oh,
the
you would say
shadiest
Joe.
was Joe.
Okay, well, Joe, let's move to him then. They said is the most annoying.
Yeah, that should have been Jackie.
Andrew apologised for that.
Yeah, well, Andrew said you should be shadiest. But they didn't listen.
I don't think that's any better.
I
Jason,
think being shady is better than being annoying.
in this game maybe, but in life maybe not. It depends on how people look at it.
RuPaul's shady.
Jason is the most trustworthy.
Jason,
Jason's
who's Jason?
quite quiet. He's the one you were saying was wearing the high-vis jacket. Like he was going, like he was going to roadworks.
Yeah.
Maybe he
Even
cycles.
though that's not his job.
Do you think he cycles?
We'll find out, won't we? When he's either murdered, banished, or wins.
Utah, bravest.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree with that one too.
Bravest as in sexiest.
Biggest muscles, yes. I got that.
Bravest and strongest, I agree, yeah. Looks great in his funeral outfit.
By the way, they never said what he actually said for each one was, but Utah was one of the people he said was actually going to get the inheritance.
Yeah.
So he was actually liked by Widowmoo.
Mm-hmm.
Jackie was the bossiest. I agree with that, actually, because I think Jackie does kind of control the traffic quite well.
I think Whitney's the bossiest, but that's from
I agree with that as well.
From what we see. I'd say
Fair.
Jackie should have been most annoying.
I agree
Joe.
that, but Whitney wasn't a choice for the matter, so that's why they couldn't choose her.
Yeah.
Joe, we've done Joe. Mike was the shadiest, and finally, then Brittany is the most arrogant, according.
Mike, he can't be shady. What, Mike was shadiest?
Mike was the shadiest.
Well, that's
yeah.
that's just stupid.
You're just saying that because he got in touch.
No,
with
because Joe should be shadiest. Jackie should have been most annoying.
Well, what would Mike be then?
Most quiet. I can't remember. I've got the list in front
To
of me.
be fair, I would say Mike would be fit the quietest. You got a point there.
Or sweetest.
I would say most trustworthy if we were going to throw something.
Trustworthy builder is what you.
But then I think,
out for.
but I have to say, I think he's the most trustworthy because he's playing a good game. Again, we'll talk about this when we get to the round table in a second, but a lot of them are kind of just shimmering in the background. Mike's learned.
Most quietest.
Well, Mike's learned that he's had to do that because he was so loud, not loud vocally, but loud kind of like within the group, as he was being the most noticed, that people were straight away accusing him as being a traitor. All of a sudden, that opinion's turned around and no one's accusing him of being a traitor anymore. So actually, you could say that he is the quietest for that regard. Brittany is the most arrogant, apparently. But again, I disagree with that. I don't think she's been arrogant, or at least I've not seen it on screen.
I say Nol is arrogant. Or Mark is arrogant.
I would say Mark was the most arrogant, actually. I agree. He's kind of got a swagger to him.
Or
with his
Paul
stick.
Henry.
Paul Henry wasn't invited to the funeral either.
He was on the cassettes.
He was not on the video cassette tape.
He wouldn't even put it in, would he? He made Brittany put it in. The cassette tape.
Okay.
He said, Brittany, put it in.
Shana.
Perfect.
But they didn't win all the money, did
No,
they?
Donna they got correct as being...
Donna. Now, I'm glad you finally brought up Donna because we've not spoken about her yet.
Do it.
This is a really niche thing, I'm going to say, but she looks like an actress who had a guest appearance on a series of Desperate Housewives. And I can't remember the actress' name or the character's name, but she was a drug addict who lived in, like, Gabby and Carlos.
Donna, we're not accusing you of being a drug addict.
No,
I
but
apologise.
she looks exactly like the character. She's wearing the exact same clothes the character wore, and she was a drug addict on Desperate Housewives. She lived with Gabby and Carlos, and she stole money and then got shot in someone's kitchen.
That's Donna's future.
But it looks exactly like her. It's really weird. I need to look up. I wonder if she is the actress. I need to get her fact file.
We can't do her fact file.
No, I
yet.
know, but she looks exactly like her. But if you've watched those, like, she's in like 5 episodes. If you've watched those 5 episodes, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Well, we'll talk about Donna in a second because she piped up at the round table once.
Yeah, the round table was all a bit weird, wasn't it? Like the whole episode, we thought it was going to be Whitney pushing Brittany
And it was to
and
begin
Jackie,
with.
and then it all kind of went on its head a bit.
Okay, well, it did start off that way. Well, so basically, they only won $2,000 in the challenge. The end. So at
Which
the round,
was Donna.
Which was Donna. It was meant to be Brittany, Utah, and Donna, but they only got Donna correct. So that's who was on his video cassette.
So Utah's not the bravest.
Sadly not.
It's because there wasn't a sexy category, you see.
Noah and Stephen. Noah and Stephen didn't get a category, so do you want to quickly say what they are?
Who?
Noah.
Noah? Noel. Oh, yeah.
Noel, sorry. I don't have said Noah.
I'm the one who keeps
Noel.
I keep calling him Noel as a joke last week, and it's
Noel.
in my head that his name is Noel, even
Do you know
though
his
it's
name I
not.
haven't said yet? Bean. There you go. Just to get out of the way.
Lovely Ben.
Noel was left out of the grouping. Do you want to...
I already put Noel under something, didn't I? I think arrogant.
Okay. And Stephen? He's the guy with the check top.
Quietest, I can't really remember. Stephen's quite quiet and gentle. He's like a gentle bear.
I think he's the most... if there was a category, I would say cunning. Because he seems to quietly put pieces
I think
together.
he's quite smart, and he's just sitting back watching it, and he doesn't say much, but what he does say is important. He doesn't just say words. He thinks what he's saying, and then when he's ready to say it, that's it. Unlike Joe, who kind of had a weird breakdown at the round table. It was a bit weird. He sort of came in and was like, you two looked at each other.
Well, this is
don't make a fool of me. And it's like, pardon? What's happened here?
Yeah, so 100%. So this is
I don't know what happened, and they filmed that slow motion walk to the round table when
they
line
circle
up
around the house.
No, but when something happened then between, and that's when Joe suddenly changed his mind. Apparently,
Well, Joe changed his mind because he said when they sat down in the room. So before the round table, Joe said, "I don't think you're a traitor."
To Brittany.
Don't prove. Yeah, don't make me a fool though. Don't embarrass me. Because I will be very upset.
Well, only one person has done that now.
He's embarrassed himself.
Exactly.
Let's be honest. So Joe said that when Brittany walked into the room, she looked at Mark and they acknowledged each other. And so he said, well then that's decided. I've decided that you are now a traitor because of that. And
looked at Molly, you mean, not Mark?
No, it was Mark.
Oh, well, why did he start saying Molly and Brittany were both traitors then?
Because he's got suspicions on lots of different people. Okay. People throw names out
I thought Molly and Brittany looked at each other, and he said, that's why I think both of you are traitors.
No. Mark and Brittany looked at each other.
Okay, I thought it was Molly. Because
they all think Mark is a traitor. They all think Mark is a traitor. But they're kind of like just keeping him in for fun at the moment. Because they've kind of taken a bit of a 180 with Mark because they thought he was just a bit of a prat. But now they've kind of decided, actually, no, we think he might be a traitor. But because I think a couple of people even said, like, I'm going for Brittany. And then, in fact, Joe said, I'll go for Brittany tonight. I'm going for you next, Mark.
It's Molly.
No, it's Mark. I swear it's Mark.
He said it about Molly and Brittany. It's not Mark.
Quickly get the videotape up there. Yes, you can.
What?
You know what?
Video cassette tape.
You sound like Brianna now. That's what she said.
Good.
She said, I can't wait for the cameras to prove you wrong.
Well, we'll see. But we can correct ourselves next episode, or you can apologise when you're wrong.
Okay, well, if you think it's... How did Molly's name suddenly come out? Because that was from Joe calling Molly out.
Anything else on Molly on here? It literally says, and then Brit then made an emotional plea. I'm sure he said Mark. He looked at Mark.
No, it was Molly. It was definitely Molly because Brittany said we look at each other across the table.
No, she did. Yeah, again, that could be anyone. She said that when I sat down, you just look at someone and kind of say hello or whatever. You just kind of go, hi.
Okay, I'm sure Joe was...
You can easily find out in like 5 seconds. Do it.
No, okay, fine. Well, this is going to be in the episode, everyone. So, I don't know how I'm going to find it so quickly.
While you're talking about that then, Brittany then made an emotional plea, which she said that the reason... Do you want to leave it? Do you actually?
It's not opening anyway.
Fine, we'll do it in the next episode.
All sorts of problems with my files.
We'll talk about it in the next episode. Well, ta-da.
With my backpack passage.
Brittany made an emotional plea, said that Jackie is disrupting the group. So she's then put Jackie's name forward. Jackie then said, well, I'm not the only one who's saying your name. And then Whitney, without really needing to do it, but she did anyway, then said, no, I also said your name and I support the reasons that Jackie and a few people have said that it's you. So Brittany, we kind of thought then Brittany was a goner. But then Donna piped up and said that we're forgetting that Jane and Terry had that argument at the table. We got rid of Terry last round table. He was faithful, so we got some unfinished business here.
Poor Jane. She thought she was
safe for one episode. I know. And Donna was the one who brought it up. I mean, Jane.
I'm rooting for Jane.
It's weird because I feel like that people seem to think that if someone accuses someone at the round table, that the person who's accused doesn't go, they're automatically then categorized as the traitor. When it's that, that could not be true.
In this case, it's true, but that's just a happy coincidence, I feel.
True. But like sometimes faithful go for faithful. We know that happens.
Traitors go for traitors.
And traitors go for traitors.
Looking at you, Mike.
And well, yes. And Andrew even said, like at this point, he kind of said, look, we're being disrupted here. The traitors are getting their way. We're kind of making silly accusations of one another, which then brought Nol forward to say, like, well, a lot of people are being quiet in the room. And Kat was then the one who kind of then said, well, you've brought up loads of people's names, but the only name you haven't brought up yet is Molly's, saying that, and she's been very quiet too. Now,
or maybe I'm getting Nol mixed up with Joe, and Nol was the one who brought up Molly then.
Maybe.
At least I can admit when I'm wrong.
I always admit when I'm wrong too. But listen, do you think last episode I said that mole, let's call them the mole, Nol and Molly.
What, they're sisters or brothers?
They're brothers, sisters, or a couple. There's something about them too.
Yeah, but then that kind of went out the window when he then voted for her.
That's tactical, because he must have thought that Molly would be safe. Obviously made a bit of a mistake there, but he must have thought, oh, that's okay. I'm certain there's something between Nol and Molly.
This all stems from last week's game where one of them had a fake name, we feel. Molly and Nol. Nolly. Molly and Nolly. Brother and sister.
Nolly and Mole.
I don't think they are related anymore because of the way that he then ended up just voting for her, and he could have voted for someone else quite easily and not raise suspicions.
But I think he panicked a little bit and realised that he had to at least kind of said, oh yeah, no, he did say like, oh yeah, and Molly. He could have left it at that and then go back to maybe another name. But I think he felt like cornered at that point.
Most arrogant. He just had to keep going.
I have to say, Kat did a really good job. Kat kind of just...
I was going to say, yeah,
Kat got claws.
Kat is one to watch, I feel.
I agree.
She's going to be one of those really strong faithfuls.
Mm-hmm. She
I noticed that at the breakfast table.
She interrupted quite quickly a kind of stream of thought by Nol, and then jumped on it quite calculated way, that she kind of figured out that like he's kind of throwing names out quite quickly too. I mean, it feels like the traitors really are playing a game where they're kind of throwing out a lot of names at the moment. They just seem to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and they're not very focused. And that's why we've ended up with a deadlock.
Well, there's so many split. So
it was tied between
Jackie and Molly.
And then they went for the
we
revote.
Must say there was other votes, because it was only a 5-5 tie. Noel had 3, Britt had 3, with Jackie saying, come for me, I'll come for you. Psychic. Jane had 2 and Mark had 1. Mark was voted for by Jason.
Yeah, you can't let it go, can he?
He cannot let it go. So then there was a split vote, so they had to re-vote again.
And they've done that annoying thing where they end the episode without telling us.
Not annoying. Perfectly done. Well done, the production crew of the Traitors. It's a bit of a shame it's not episode 4, because they're doing 2 a week. If it'd been the end of episode 4, I would literally be screaming my face off.
But they've done it well, because it's ended on Whitney's vote to decide.
Yes. Now, does Whitney backstab like Mike did? Mike voted for Jackie in the revote.
Yeah, there's a little look then between him and Jackie. So it's always dangerous when a traitor does that. If they're not sure that you're going to go, it's going to be awkward in the turret.
Yeah.
So
Joe didn't spot that little look, did he?
No.
He should have spotted it. But as you say, the final vote is thrown to Whitney. Does she realise that there's too many eyes on Jackie now, or does she support Jackie?
I think she should support Jackie. I think it's a bit too early to be throwing traitors.
But Whitney
under the bus,
Whitney
and they
was the
have
first
their thing.
one to say that she.
Although
wanted
Jackie
to do
was the traitor they brought in to throw under the bus, wasn't she?
She was.
So, but Jane stayed neutral. She didn't vote for a traitor. I don't know. I think she should get rid of Molly. Not that I want Molly to go, but I think it's a bit too early to do traitor.
But I don't want Molly to go, because I so desperately want that. Because if Molly doesn't go, and there is a secret between Molly and Noel, then the next episode is going to straight away begin with, and I've got a secret, but Noel is, or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, if you know, you know. So,
if you want Jackie gone,
plus I don't like Jackie. I know you like Jackie, but don't you think that would disrupt things as well? Because Andrew and Mark both are using Jackie
lose their alliance
as a crutch. Is that right? Yeah, crutch. Sorry, I was thinking of Paul Henry. And so if she was to go, then Andrew has kind of lost that kind of support network, and Mark to a lesser extent has too. I don't know. I think it would be more interesting for the game if Jackie was to go. I think if Molly was to go, it would be less ripples in the water. I think Molly's...
If Jackie goes, so they're going to get a recruit, a murder. Next episode is going to be busy. Next one.
There's 3 of them. They don't really need to recruit at this point. They might as well just stick to the 3. Unless Whitney's now on a savage murder cull and she's now going to try to get the game for herself.
It's all a bit early for the traitor murders, but we'll see. The next episode is already out, of course. So
yes.
We will find out very soon. So if people want to get in contact with us to let us know what they think, because they've got a week, after episode 4, they've got a week then to get in touch with us. How can they?
They do. So you can email
we're doing
us.
this live.
Live
Live as it
exclusive.
airs, it's happening.
It's fast, it's happening. You can
Shana.
You can email us, faithfultothetraitors@gmail.com.
We want it every time, do you?
No, I thought you were going to do another sound effect.
Welcome to my lower field.
Lovely. You can find us on X @Traitors Podcast,
Video cassette tape.
Instagram or Threads @FaithfulToTheTraitors. If you want to support the show, go to buymeacoffee.com/faithful. You can also support the show by subscribing to the podcast on either YouTube or any of your favourite podcast apps. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to comment underneath the video. If you are watching us on YouTube, just search on YouTube Faithful to the Traitors Podcast. You can find us there. What else can they do? Oh yeah, you can write a review if you like, a nice review about us. You can say whatever you like, just to, make sure it's 5 stars, because that's the way forward.
Enough talk.
Oh, I don't know if there's anything else to say.
That's all there is,
That's
I'm
all there is
afraid.
to say. But thank you for. I must say that we don't say this very often, but thank you also to everyone who does support or listen or watch the show, because we get a lot of people getting in touch with us saying they listen or watch. Having a conversation about it, and it is really lovely to speak to you all, so thank you so much.
There you go then. So until next episode, stay faithful.
Ta-ra, chucks.
Shana.